It's the Final Word Daily. Oh my God. It's brought to you by Ambassador Cruise Line. England are out in the most remarkable, unexpected, but also predicted fashion. I'm flabbergasted, I'm genuinely lost for words, but who isn't lost for words is Daniel Norcross, and he's going to tell you about it all in 30 seconds.
The time bomb went off, ladies and gentlemen. We told you it might, and it really did. It went off in quite spectacular fashion. Firstly, England fluffed their lines. They lost 3 quick wickets round about the power play, losing both openers, and then Alice Capsey in horrible fashion to a terrible run out. They regrouped, but then their captain's calf went pop just at the point when it looked like they might be about to set a target of 150, 160. After that, they muddled their way somehow to what still looked like an impregnable target of 141. Impregnable were it not for the extraordinary power of Kiana Joseph, a woman ridiculed by none other than us, actually, when she got a 14-ball 4, swishing in a series of balls for Ayabonga Kaka that were just sort of out of her reach, really. England didn't put it out of her reach, they put it in her reach. And when she smashed it down the throats of fielders, albeit at incredible speed, faster, I think, than they were expecting, they dropped it. And they dropped it, and they dropped it. Alongside Hayley Matthews, they put on 102 runs for the opening partnership. There was an inevitability at the end of the power play that the West Indies had done it, and yet there was always a chance of them messing up somehow. Well, Deandra Dottin at the point when they might have messed it up, when suddenly the rate had got beyond a runner ball, went 6, 4, 6, or 4, 6, 6. I don't really know. It doesn't really matter. It's details. Got him over the line with 2 overs to spare, which was approximately 11 balls too many for England, who, despite a previously unblemished record in this championship, are out, and they're going home in about 36 hours probably. A brutal, brutal way to go.
I'm frazzled. I'm really quite frazzled. That was, so it's both entirely unexpected, but we have been saying, fortunately, both publicly and privately, that
So the publicly bit's more important than the private, because no one believes the private bit.
That's
darling.
West Indies, like, they have this performance in them, and although England are on paper the stronger of the two teams, they've won 13 matches, 13 of their last matches against West Indies in a row. If you want to have an idea of just how big a missed opportunity this is for England to reach a World Cup final, they had to beat the West Indies and New Zealand to reach a World Cup final. They have won their last 20 matches against those opponents. They are 20-0 up, and they are not in the final. They're going home in the group stages, having finished 3rd in a group that didn't have either Australia or India in it. It is a quite remarkable cock-up, quite frankly. They were there. They had this incredible opportunity, and it's all finished before it started. We just had the presser with John Lewis and asked him, since you've gone out on that run rate, like, weirdly, are there parts of the other matches you won where you kind of go like, that was actually maybe the opportunity to press forward our case, get that net run rate up top, so you give yourself the safety net of being able to lose when someone plays the innings of her life? And he was like, no. He was like, I thought we played really good cricket, which I don't know if you have to say that, or you could say against Bangladesh we scored 70 runs in overs 6 to 20, and that would have been quite good to get more than 118 against Bangladesh. I've gone off topic from West Indies because I think as much as England's failure is the story here, just the fireworks and relentless barrage of 4s and 6s that came from the bats of Hayley Matthews and Kiana Joseph was remarkable. It started with Hayley Matthews pulling the second ball of the innings for 6, and it just didn't stop. I texted a couple of friends who are watching back home, and I said, I cannot wait for you to watch Kiana Joseph bat, because you're not going to believe your eyes when you see it, when you see her take stance. And sure enough, after 3 balls, she's had wild hacks at all of them. They're spinning over the top of short third, running away. She's on 10 off 3. She's on 17 off 6. 17 off 10 even. It was just remarkable. And before England knew it, they were out of the competition.
Well, firstly, I've got to say why, having seen Kiana Joseph, was there a fine leg, and at some point there was a deep mid-wicket when Eccleston came on rather than a deep backward square leg. But to begin with, against the seamer, against Nat Silver-Brunt from the far end, you know exactly what she's going to do, and you know where she's going to try and go. So you hide it outside the off stump. And when the ball was hidden outside the off stump, she hacked, got the edges, and they flew down to deep third. There had to be a deep third, not a fine leg, because you were never going to bowl the ball on her pads. So you're setting a field for the wrong ball to Kiana Joseph. That's the first mistake. Obviously, failing to catch the ball is the next mistake. I'm going to give a mitigation to the catching because everyone's going, how? How do they keep doing it? My genuine feeling is that she hits a ball harder than any woman in cricket. And I almost include Deandra Dottin in that because it's a surprisingly fizzy hit. Do you know what I mean? Like the one that Maya Bouchier dropped the ball before she actually got out was just whacked. It was quite flat, and I think Bouchier came in. They don't need to come in.
Wait,
Just
stay there.
Stay
It'll get
where
there.
you are. It'll either be a catchable height or it'll sail over your head. Don't move, for heaven's sake. Similarly, when she whacked one over deep backward square, Dunkley went running because she thought, because most women, when they hit the ball out like that, it does a bit of a loop. It goes up and down. Whereas from Kiana Joseph, it doesn't go up and down. It goes zoom, zoom. So just move a little bit if you have to, 2 or 3 paces to your right, and then just be ready because it's going to be there quicker than you think. It's incredible watching the forcefulness of her hitting, but I did think that they had the wrong field, so I thought they bowled wrong to her as well.
Why didn't Lauren Bell bowl? Why didn't Lauren Bell just slide it across her?
Slide it across her. Well, I mean, Catherine Silverbrunt made the point that she thought she was getting no swing, but that's the point. You don't need to swing it, you just need to push it outside the off stump because dear old Kiana, she just puts her front foot straight down a pitch and whacks. If the ball's not there, it just misses the bat. If the ball is there, it gets hit very hard indeed, either off the middle of the bat or off an enormous edge, and so it flies away. So you've got to have a deep third. You know, I mean, that was just like, it was like a sort of failure there. But I mean, this is nitpicking because we're sort of thinking about what England could have done better. I think, let's put this into perspective. Have Australia hit 2 sixes in this tournament?
I don't know.
I think it is.
Maybe.
5 today from the West Indies. 2 really important ones from Dottin at one point. They went miles. She was on it today. She bowled. You know, she's on it when she decides to bowl for the first time.
Fielding was amazing.
And Hayley Matthews. I mean, she was wind assisted, I've got to say, by the fact that Lauren Bell bowled 3 really good balls outside the off stump that she played and missed out, and 3 really bad balls that were on her hip that she just swung away. And once she got 14 in that first over, you just thought, hello, Hayley Matthews is up and running. If they don't get Joseph quickly, trouble. And the trouble happened so fast. It was like 40 off 2.5 overs. I mean, there was a point at which they passed England's boundary count before 10 overs were up. Absolutely bonkers. And it only slowed down because eventually wickets did go, and they thought, oh, well, actually, we're going to need to go at 5 and over.
They were still in it. I felt like, to not labour the point, this is Joseph's third ever T20 half century, according to Cricket Archive. It's her first one ever. I was going to shout louder. And he drives past us. Bloody hell. It's her first ever in a West Indian shirt. Her highest score beforehand was in like the 30s. She only got out of double figures, I think, like 3 times now.
I'm not surprised.
In her, like, not very lengthy international career. And she's obviously an incredibly popular, likeable, nice human.
Oh, when she got out, they just mobbed her, didn't they?
They mobbed her, but I thought it was very... She danced when she got a 50. Her teammates are so happy for her. But, and I think this is crucial for the context with which England will go home tonight and stare into their pillows, or more points, stare into the back of their eyelids going, what the fuck has just happened? They were like, her teammates were like laughing.
Yeah.
They're laughing at the fact she's doing it and being like...
Because they've seen it as well, haven't they? I mean, they've presumably been in nets and bowled. Like, they come bowl at Kiana and, you know, 5 balls out of 7 she just misses, and the other 2 that gets lost. Just when she hits it further and harder than anyone else. I'd say she hits it further and harder than Lizelle Lee, and I've seen that woman hit the ball into the cricketers' pub at the Oval.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. So there was a moment where England got the 2 wickets of Matthews and Joseph in consecutive overs, and all of a sudden you kind of reverted back to the context of this World Cup as a whole, where actually the West Indies needed 48 at a run a ball, and you're like, oh.
Well, it's a bit less than that because 102 was the partnership, so they needed
40.
They needed 40 off about 48.
I genuinely thought there's a chance they muck this up here, the Windies. I really did.
It's a chance,
and they did have a little wobble at the back end, but more to the point was, and it was for those who you've been commentating with, who asked John Lewis this in the press conference, was like, it looked like after 6-7 overs, like the girls were shot, basically.
They were.
Like, shoulders slumped. Oh my goodness me, what is happening? This is disappearing in front of our eyes. And John Lewis did something which he says, I don't do this often, but I went onto the pitch at drinks and basically gave him a rocket and was like, remember who we are, what we stand for, kind of like this, we're a proper cricket team. And that did spark a change. That was when they were able to just kind of flip the switch a little bit. But the fact of the matter was it was gone. It was shell-shocked is the perfect word. You'll see that in a lot of headlines later today, because I think unanimously that's what people should go like, England were there being like, what on earth has just happened?
It was their best fielders as well missing things. You know, Charlie Dean. Sophia Dunkley is a great outfielder. Maya Bouchier is one of the best fielders England's had since Lydia Greenway. And you know, you could see, I feel for them tonight, because there will be a load of players who'll be thinking, I messed up tonight. Well, you take it on as a team, you know, it's a collective, these things happen. A lot of people screwed up today, but poor old Charlie Dean, 4 overs, none for 46. That's a
oh my God, I didn't know that.
bitter pill to swallow. Alice Capsey, possibly the worst of the drops in a way because of when it happened. It was still early enough in the piece. I think West Indies won about 35 or 2 and a bit overs. And dear old Kiana went for the exact same shot, and because it was slightly wider than normal, it went straight up in the air, but a long way up in the air, horribly long way up in the air. And Capsey just wasn't in the right place to take the catch. She was leaning forward a bit to try to get it, dropped out of her hands. That catch gets taken, and they're still needing over a runner ball with over 100 balls to go, and England are very much in it. But today they had. We said there are 3 really dangerous players in that batting lineup. They're Hayley Matthews, they're Kiana Joseph, and they're Deandra Dottin, and each one of them played the absolutely right innings. And in many ways, Hayley Matthews' innings was the best. I mean, while Kiana Joseph's was spectacular, because we've never seen a ball come off a bat quite like that in women's cricket, Hayley Matthews was just impeccable and so on it today.
The way I put it, Hayley Matthews played the innings everyone knew she could play. Kiana Joseph played the innings that no one knew she could play.
Correct. And Deandra Dottin made sure they didn't lose.
So, and it's weird though, because England got 141, and that was
a lot, really.
Fine. Like you're like, yeah, I think if you get 140, you win. That's the highest total that's been chased this competition by only in front of England against South Africa when they chased down like 124, 125. It feels like almost a bit of a moot point of like how England got there, but I think it's a good contrast, and you can take a snippet of their innings where it's Sophie Ecclestone coming in at the end, and Sophie Ecclestone gets 7 off 4, she hits a 6, and it's the 6 that I kind of want to isolate, because we've been playing this format of cricket, this competition, where 6.5 and over is a lot of runs. England have their not very technical but talented good eye batter at 9. The Windies have her at 2. And we play this game, and they're trying to work out. Nat Sciver-Brunt plays a beautiful innings, like times well, lifts them up. England are in trouble at 34 for 3. Between her and Heather Knight, they stick on 50. By the way, Heather Knight, England captain, pops her calf, had to go off. She's on 21 off 13 at that point when she retires.
She played the reverse sweep. She manipulated the field. She was playing a really clever knock, actually.
But England are playing like, old-fashioned isn't quite the right word, but it's more like MCC high elbow cricket, where you go, well done, congratulations, you got 140 and didn't you bat marvellously. And West Indies have gone, I'm just going to put it in the fucking bin.
Just moose the hell
I'm just going to hit it over there. And you think, and they narrowed in on this. Again, Ecclestone was a very important part of this. Kiana Joseph was facing Sophie Ecclestone, who's come on to bowl in the 4th over. She's come on to bowl in the power play. I feel like England, yes, they can use Ecclestone at any point that they really want to, but I feel like she's often used kind of in a Rashid Khan way, where it's like, can we get out of
the power play and then pile the pressure
how much of a hole can we dig our opponent on and then use our best bowler?
Yes.
Kiana Joseph, left-handed, facing the left-handed Sophie Ecclestone, goes dot, 4, dot, dot, then mooses one out to the sweeper, and I might have got the order of the boundaries wrong, and Hayley Matthews, one of the best players in the world, in the 4th over of a T20 chase goes, stay there. Not interested. You try and hit this one into the road as well. She had no interest in taking on, risking herself to Sophie Ecclestone, and they just had... It's honestly, it's the...
They had the wrong field there as well, though, didn't they? And there was a poor ball. There was a rare poor ball by Sophie Ecclestone, because I think England would just felt so under the pump. She'd come on for the 4th over, and West Indies on about 40 odd at that point, and she dragged one down the leg side, and they had the wrong field. They needed a deep backward square anyway, which they didn't have.
They not have that?
You know, yeah.
Really?
And I don't think they had to shift the field round. There were things that just were a little muddle-headed at times.
You can put,
And you've got to say also Heather wasn't out there captaining at
For
that
sure.
point.
look, it's you can win. But it feels short-sighted and shallow to be like you can win by playing ugly cricket, because it's effective cricket, and it's what we've been talking about the whole time. But hey, it's a West Indies versus New Zealand semi-final. It's a remarkable result. The West Indian celebrations were amazing. They deserved it.
It's the West Indies men in 2016. It's what we were
Yeah.
talking about the other day. 6 is 6 times 1. And that was actually kind of like completely exemplified by what you were saying. Yeah, don't take the single, just try and whack it out the park again. Actually, she didn't hit that many sixes, but she hit it so hard and into gaps that fielders didn't stand a chance. The Gianna Joseph, it was great to watch. Actually, it was great because we got a little bit closer to the English women because we've been following them around for years and years and years. It was quite hard to watch their disappointment. I mean, it's more than disappointment. It was actually, I hate the word disappointment. It wasn't disappointment, it was devastation.
Yeah.
You know, this is what they live for. They woke up this morning fully expecting to win. I don't mean by that they took the West Indies not seriously, but as you said,
beat them
Cam,
13 times
they've
in a
beaten
row.
13 times in a row. So they're thinking, we're going to win. And then we're going to play New Zealand, whom we're going to beat, and then we're going to play Australia in the final. So, you know, their rooms are sort of set up for being here for the next 9 days, 7 days, whatever.
Oh, Christ.
And now, like within 3 hours, they're going, when are they going to make us go home? Well, it won't be the 3 o'clock flight this morning, but it'll probably be the 3 o'clock flight the following morning. And then it's all done. The brutality of it, the speed of it is just shocking. And you could say that about all the teams that get knocked out, but I imagine Sri Lanka were probably expecting it, and Bangladesh and Scotland. India not so much, but they got quite a lot of warning because they'd screwed up early and lost 2 games, so it didn't happen quite so fast. I think for England this has been the most devastatingly rapid execution really that you could imagine in a tournament, largely because again they won their first 3 games, so you don't really see it coming. You don't think, oh, we're on the brink of going out, even though the time bomb went off.
There was just on that point, an anonymous member of the England backroom staff said, it's just that people are upset. They're genuinely shocked. And then she was like, oh, I might be able to make netball training tomorrow evening. And you're just like, just the switch of like, oh, Jesus. Right.
Yeah.
That's been part 1. We are going to go to a break, and then we're going to come back and have the Final Word Hall of Fame and Daniel's lovely ad read. We'll be right back. And we are back. It's the Final Word, brought to you by Ambassador Cruise Line, giving you the chance to cruise with cricket legends this December. Daniel, take it away.
Well, with England's early exit, do you still feel the need to scratch your World Cup itch? Ambassador Cruise Line can offer just that on their Cricket Legends Cruise in December. You'll be able to dig into the wisdom of cricket legends and drink from their fountains of knowledge on World Cups. You can talk to Graham Gooch about how many stumps Derek Pringle would have hit if Javed hadn't stuck his pads in the way in the 1992 final. Ask Aggers about what it was like to call Sri Lanka to their World Cup win in 1996. Or better still, England's Lord's heroics in 2019. Or why not ask Blowers about the early World Cups in England where he was front and centre? What was the most memorable moment? The rain rule game, the super over, or was it Neil Smith bringing up his dinner at Silly Point in 1996? All this at the ridiculously generous starting price of £559 per person. And that's before you get 10% off because you listen to us. It's incredibly easy. Just visit ambassadorcruiseline.com and pop in
Final Word 10.
That's final word 10, the number 10, at checkout, and you'll be sailing away beating the winter blues. It's in the show notes. Check it out. Ambassador Cruise Line, giving you the chance to cruise with cricket legends this December.
Final Word Hall of Fame. I'm going to go for a really niche one, just because I thought it further showed the kind of brain and smarts that West Indies displayed today, and just kind of winning cricket matches, which I think I really want to emphasise. I feel like I've almost underdone them by being like playing ugly. You can play ugly and smart. And I thought an example of the latter was when Amy Jones came in after Heather Knight retired, and not through any sense of like field restrictions or they've been punished. They went 3 fielders out of the ring.
Yeah,
3 fielders
like
on the boundary, and they're like, we're going to squeeze now. We know they knew that if they just keep it like 6, 7 and over, they could go for
They should have sent Eccleston in then, shouldn't they? Actually,
Yeah.
probably Danny Gibson as well. There are a whole bunch of things that they might have done differently. They might have been a bit more adventurous. I think that was Catherine Silverbrunt's point. They might have actually gone, oh, it's T20, let's have a whack.
Yep.
But they didn't, and instead, the West Indies got the better of them. My Hall of Fame moment is the drop catch of Maya Boucher, not because of the dropness of the catch, because
Yeah.
it was by far and away not the worst drop catch we've seen in this World Cup. We've seen many, many worse. We saw an absolute horrible
Oh my
Cuba
God.
off Amy Jones, the one at short fine
Chidean
leg.
Nation.
Chidean Nation. Oh my God, you will not see a worse catch than that again. We keep saying it, high bar. It was staggeringly bad at short fine leg, but that is not my Hall of Fame moment. My Hall of Fame moment is Joseph whacking it down the ground really hard. Maya Boucher dropping the last time that Joseph was dropped, it falls to the ground, and they don't bother taking the single.
Oh, I missed that.
Did you miss that?
I saw. No, I
because
no,
she
I
was
didn't.
out
I
the
saw
very
them.
because she was out the very next
Of
ball.
course, yeah.
Caught by Danny Wyatt to deep mid wicket. And the thing is, you know, it was slightly different from in the power play. They should just have taken the single.
Yeah.
But she couldn't be bothered to walk, even though it went a fully 70 metres.
I did see that. She come down. I think Hayley Matthews sent her back.
So yeah, forget it. Yeah, no, you just keep going. And then she was out next ball, and obviously she wouldn't have been out next ball because she wouldn't have been on strike. And it did actually open the game ever so slightly because 2 runs later Hayley Matthews was out. But
Yeah.
that door was firmly slammed shut by Deandra Dottin, and we are where we are. So that's my Hall of Fame. It was the weirdest bit of cricket I've seen in a while. Not well, I say a while. Probably about the weirdest bit of cricket I'd seen in about an hour and a half since Chidean Nation had dropped Amy Jones at short fine leg.
It's been a genuinely remarkable day. England are out of the World Cup. On the one hand, what could they have done about it?
Score more runs and take more catches.
Yes, in a nutshell, absolutely correct. I was going to say on the one hand, they go like, what could we have done it? We were faced with this unbelievable onslaught. We couldn't have done anything about it. You're like, catch the ball.
We've got a day off now.
Goodness me.
So what else? We've got a day off. What do we do? I'm going
to write up. I reckon I'm going to email every editor in the country and go like, "Do you want a reaction piece of what went wrong for England?" And I can just write 800 words about Kiana Joseph over and over and over and over again. This has been the Final Word Daily. We've been brought to you by Ambassador Cruise Line. Me and Daniel will not be back tomorrow. I'm so sorry. We'll miss you, but we will be back for both the semi-finals and the final. We love you dearly, and we'll speak to you and see you not tomorrow, the day after.
I'm not that sorry. I quite like a day off.
I miss you.
Well, you know, yeah. But I miss them, but you know.
Right, let's stop. Bye.
Like.